What if every light you see in the night sky isn't a ball of fire, but a beating heart? For hundreds of years, we have looked at the stars and seen machines. We call them engines of fusion. We say they are born in clouds of gas, they burn for billions of years, and then they die. We treat the universe like a giant cold clock made of physics and math. But what if we are wrong? What if a star is not a thing, but a being? What if the death of a star, the violent explosion we call a supernova, is actually a birth? Tonight, we are going to look at a terrifying possibility. We are going to explore the theory of the biological star. We are going to look into a dark corner of space called Sector 8, where the rules of science don't work anymore. To understand how a star could be alive, we first have to look at what we think we know. The books tell us that stars are simple. Gravity pulls gas together until it gets so hot that it starts to burn. It stays balanced for a long time. Then, when the fuel runs out, the star collapses. If it's big enough, it explodes. If it's even bigger, it becomes a black hole. It sounds like a machine running out of gas. But think about the ingredients. When a star is about to die, it starts making things. It makes carbon, it makes oxygen, it makes silicon and calcium. Finally, it makes iron. Look at your own body. Look at your hands. Your bones are made of calcium. Your blood is red because of iron. You breathe oxygen. You are made of carbon. Every single thing that makes you alive is created inside a dying star. Scientists call this stellar nucleosynthesis. It's a big word that just means the stars made us. But what if the stars aren't just making the parts for us? What if they are making parts for themselves? In our world, when we see a factory making car parts, we know it's for a car. When we see a star making life parts, why do we assume it's just a coincidence? Imagine a star much bigger than our sun. It has burned for millions of years. It is tired. The hydrogen is gone. In our normal science, this is the end. But in this what-if scenario, this is the transition. Instead of the star blowing itself apart, the gravity does something different. The iron core at the center doesn't just sit there. It begins to form a shape. Under that extreme pressure, the atoms don't just crush, they weave together. Think of a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. Inside the cocoon, the caterpillar turns into mush. It looks like it's dying. It looks like a mess. But it is actually rearranging its DNA to become something else. A star in Sector 8 does the same thing. The outer layers of gas don't fly away. They thicken. They become a skin. A massive, translucent membrane that wraps around the star. This skin is thousands of miles thick. It's designed to trap radiation. The star is no longer burning its fuel and throwing the energy away into space. It is now keeping its energy. It is recycling it. It has developed a metabolism. This is where the horror begins. If you were on a ship approaching one of these living stars, you would notice something strange on your monitors. Usually, stars give off a constant hum of radio waves. It sounds like static on a TV. But a living star is quiet. Long periods of silence. And then, thump. A massive burst of energy. Not a random flare, but a timed pulse. 1 minute of silence. Thump. Your ship's hull would vibrate. The lights would flicker in time with the sound. You weren't listening to a star anymore. You were listening to a heart. The biological star is pumping energy through its veins, huge tunnels of plasma that run from the iron core to the outer skin. It is moving heat and nutrients around its body just like you do. Why would a star need a heartbeat? Because it is growing. In the vacuum of space, it is searching for food. It isn't just sitting there. It is pulling in smaller rocks, comets, and even planets. It isn't destroying them with gravity. it is digesting them. It is taking the minerals it needs to keep its giant obsidian skin strong. Let's talk about Sector 8. In the world of stellar genesis, Sector 8 is a place astronomers don't like to talk about. It's a dark patch. When we point our strongest telescopes there, we see nothing. No light, no heat. But we know something is there because of the gravity. Something in Sector 8 is pulling on the stars around it. Imagine a group of scientists sent a probe into that darkness. For months, the probe sees nothing but black. Then, the sensors pick up a temperature. It's not 10,000 degrees like a normal star. It's 98 degrees, the temperature of a living body. As the probe gets closer, it turns on its lights. The camera shows a surface that isn't made of gas. It's made of something that looks like leather and glass. It is dark purple and black. And underneath the surface, there are glowing red lines. They look like veins. The probe records a sound. It's not the sound of space. It's the sound of breathing. A slow, heavy rush of gas moving in and out of giant holes in the star's skin. This is the reality of the living star. It doesn't want to be found. It has evolved to be dark. In the wild, animals that want to survive learn to hide. Why would a living star be any different? If it stayed bright and hot, it would waste energy. By turning dark and biological, it can live for trillions of years. It becomes a ghost in the machine of the galaxy. Now, let's think even bigger. If one star can be alive, what about the others? If you look at a picture of a galaxy, what does it look like? It has a center, a bright glowing core. It has arms that spiral out. It looks like a cell. It looks like a nervous system. Maybe the reason we haven't found aliens is that we are looking for people on planets. We are looking for things that look like us. Small, fragile things that live for 80 years. But what if the true life in the universe is the stars themselves? What if the planets are just parasites? What if we are just bacteria living on a speck of dust, completely unaware that the sun we see every day is actually a colossal thinking mind? Think about the way stars communicate. They send out light. They send out gravity waves. They affect each other from millions of miles away. In our brains, neurons send electrical signals to each other to create thoughts. In the galaxy, stars send light and gravity to each other. The thoughts of a galaxy would be very slow. One thought might take 10,000 years to finish. To a star, our entire human history, from the first caveman to the first rocket, would happen in the blink of an eye. We are too fast for them to notice. We are like the germs on your skin. You don't know they are there, and they don't know you are a person. But if something is alive, it can also be hungry, and it can be hunted. In the deep ocean, there are huge whales, but there are also sharks. And there are parasites that eat the whales from the inside out. If the stars are alive, what are the sharks? In Sector 8, we don't just see living stars, we see dead ones. But they didn't die naturally. They look like they were bitten. Huge chunks of their obsidian skin are missing. Their veins are leaking cold plasma into the void. There might be things out there, creatures of the deep dark, that feed on the energy of living stars. They follow the heartbeat through the vacuum. They wait for a star to finish its transition when it is at its most vulnerable, and then they strike. This turns the universe from a cold playground into a terrifying jungle. The stars aren't just shining, they are hiding. The silence of the universe isn't because there is no life. The silence is there because everything is afraid of being heard. So what does this mean for us? We spend our lives looking up at the sky, feeling small. We think the stars are indifferent to us. We think they don't care if we live or die. But if this what if is true, it's much worse. It's not that they don't care. It's that they don't even know we exist. We are living in a house built of giant living hearts, and we are just the dust in the corner. Someday, our own sun will reach its end. It will run out of hydrogen. The scientists say it will swallow the Earth and then fade away. But what if they are wrong? What if, 5 billion years from now, our sun begins its transition? What if it grows a skin? What if it develops a pulse? If that happens, the sun won't be our light anymore. It will be a neighbor, a sleeping giant finally waking up. And when it opens its eyes, it might find that its planets are covered in a strange, buzzing infection called humanity. What do you do when you find an infection on your skin? The universe is much stranger than we like to admit. We want it to be simple. We want it to be safe. We want the stars to be big, glowing lamps that guide us home. But the more we look into places like Sector 8, the more we realize that the dark is full of secrets. The quote-unquote heartbeat is real. The quote-unquote veins are there. The only question left is, are we ready to meet what's alive out there? Or are we better off staying in the dark? Thanks for watching this episode of Stellar Genesis. If this theory gave you chills, hit the like button. It helps the algorithm find more bacteria like us. And if you want to see more what-if scenarios about the terrifying scale of our universe, make sure to subscribe. Look at the stars tonight. Listen closely. You might just hear them breathing. Until next time, stay curious and stay afraid of the dark.